In this question, we will use the exterior angle theorem. Here we have to find the numbered angles, each of the numbered angles. In this, it's only 1 and 2. Now, looking at the figure, you can easily analyze when you add them up, it'll be total 90 degrees. And there are a lot of, other angles given. So let's focus on one triangle. I'll take RWS. So since it's the writing exam, I'll write in detail in triangle RWS. Let's consider this for a minute. I know this W is, you do not need to write in detail, but I'll just write one problem in too much detail, I'm sure even if you write less details, you'll get full marks. See, W, measure of angle W is 90 degrees. Measure of angle S is 30 degrees. Okay, and R is unknown. R is measure of angle 2. When we add them up, that is R plus W plus S is equal to 180 degrees, isn't it? Because it's a triangle. So let's substitute the values. The measure of angle 2 plus 30 plus 90 is equal to 180 degrees. So you can just take it to the other side. All the only leave 2 over here. Everything else to the other side will be 180 minus 30 minus 90. That is equal to, you can just put in the calculator and find it out, 90, 120, it's 60 degrees over here. So measure of angle 2 is 60 degrees. That is the first part. We found this. Now, if you want to find the next one, you can do similarly in triangle RTW, or the easier way is angle R is equal to measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2. Why? Because we know that's a 90 degree. Now, over here, let's write this because they have told 1 plus 2. Now we can tell this is 90 is equal to 1, which is unknown, plus 2 is 60 degrees. Therefore, it's going to be 90 minus 60 is equal to measure of angle 1. You can write in the next line that is equal to 30 degrees. And you can write over here if you want measure of angle R is equal to 90 degrees given. That's given over here. So these are all too many details, but that'll give you absolutely full marks. But in the next problems, I'm not going to write so much details, but still you will, whatever is required, I'll be writing. And if you write so much, you'll definitely get full marks. So here it's very easy. It's 30 and 60. You can see the answers. Measure of angle 1 is 30. Even if you do with this triangle, this is 60, 90, and that's 30. 1 is 30, 2 is 60. What about this one over here? We can see there are vertical angles. This is measure of angle 3. We can't jump into the triangle NQO. Why? Because we don't know two of these, right? So what we'll do is, first, in triangle PM and Q, we'll consider this one. This is 66, this is 58, and this is 1. So what we'll do is measure 66 degrees plus 58 degrees plus measure of angle 1 will be equal to 180, isn't it? So let us take everything else to the other side. It's 180 minus 66 minus 58. That will be measure of angle 1. So what is 66 and 58? It will be 120, 124. It's 180 minus 124. That will be 56 degrees. Just use a calculator over here. And then after this, you can write measure of angle 1 is equal to measure of angle 2. Why? Vertically opposite angles, vertical angles are congruent, they're equal. Or you can just write vertical angles, that's it. So measure of angle 1, 56 degrees is equal to measure of angle 2. Now we found this one, we found measure of angle 1. Now what do we need? Measure of angle 3. Now I'll just write it over here. In triangle NOQ, we have 2 plus 3 plus 50 degrees. That will be equal to 180 degrees. Now that means I can substitute the value of 2. It's 56 plus, this is only unknown, plus 50 is equal to 180 degrees. So measure of angle 3 will be equal to 180 minus, you can just sum them up. It's 106 here. It will be minus 106. So that's going to be 74 degrees. So here we go. That will be the answer. So if you write so much, you should get full marks. So here we have the answers 56, 56, and 54, and 74. And how do we solve this one? Again, let's look at one. Let's see which triangle has most of the information. See, VUT or VTU. This triangle has 35, 36, and 1. So I'll just focus on this one. In triangle VTU, we have measure of angle 1 plus 30, 35 plus 36. That is equal to 180 degrees, isn't it? So measure of angle 1 can be found out by 180 minus 35 plus 36 is 71. So here 70, it will be 109 degrees, measure of angle 1. Now we found measure of angle 1, but what about this? That is, see, this is point V, but we're not taking all of V. We are just focusing on this part here. We can tell 1 measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 3 is equal to 180 degrees. Why? Because it's a linear pair. Linear pair is 180 degrees when you add them up. Okay, that's the thing. So now I can substitute what is 1, that is 109 degrees plus measure of angle 3 will be equal to 180 degrees. Let's take it to the other side. Measure of angle 3 will be 180 minus 109. So measure of angle 3 is equal to 71 degrees. So that is 71. And what else do we have to find? It's the measure of angle 2. So now here, if I know 1, you can either do 180 minus 1, that is 3, but here you can see these are vertical opposite angles. So this is equal to 3, that is 71 degrees itself. So here we can write measure of angle RVU. RVUV is equal to, the middle one is what is in consideration. RVU is equal to the angle 3, that is equal to 71 degrees. Vertical angles. I'm just stating this. Even if you don't write this, it's fine. You can just write the most important thing. In triangle RVU, this is U and this is V, we can write 80 degrees plus 71 degrees plus measure of angle 2 will be equal to 180 degrees. So let me add this up. It's going to be 151 plus measure of angle 2 is equal to 180 degrees. So measure of angle 2 will be 180 degrees minus 151. That's 30 minus 1. That's 29 degrees is the answer. So that is measure of angle 2. You can see that's measured angle 2, 3 and 1. All the angles are found out. It's 109, 29 and 71 degrees. So here we go. One second. I just realized this is wrong. Okay, this was the first question's solution set. My bad. I have done some error over here. Please, maybe I have forgotten to rectify this. Follow this one here. This is the correct solution for this question, question 3. I hope this is clear. We'll move on to the next question. Now here, this is a simple one because I've told measure of angle 1 and 2 are equal, isn't it? So it's isosceles triangle here. We can just do measure of angle 1 plus is equal to measure of angle 2. And let's take it as x if you want. Okay. So therefore, in the isosceles triangle, isosceles triangle, I'll just write. You don't need to write this, okay? Just you can write x plus 146 is equal to 180 degrees. Now you can take 146 to the other side, it will be 180 minus 146. What about here? X plus x is 2x. So 2x will be equal to 34 degrees. So x will be equal to half of it, that is 17. So x is 17. So therefore measure of angle 1 is equal to measure of angle 2 is equal to 17 degrees here. Just do 180 minus 46 and half of that will be the answer. Here we go. And what about this one? Now we use exterior angle theorem. See, exterior angle theorem is very simple. This plus this is equal to this. When you add these both, they must be equal to the exterior. Now, why does it make sense? Because how do you find this? It's 180 minus these both. How do you find these both? It's 180 minus each other, right? That's why exterior angle theorem works. Now just remember, measure of angle A plus measure of angle B will be equal to this interior, this is the exterior, 145 degrees. You can just write directly the values. 95 plus 2x is equal to 145. So that will be equal to 145 minus, it's 145 minus 95, that is equal to 2x. So here we have 50, that's 2x, x will be 25. That is the answer. So it's half of 50. And okay, it's not finding x. Sorry, what do we have to find? ABC, which I forgot. Please don't do this in the exam. Completed. Therefore, measure of angle ABC is equal to 2x, right? That will be 2 times 25. That's equal to 50 degrees. This is a very important thing. If you don't do that, you'll lose many marks. So answer is x is 25 and the measure of angle ABC is 50. Or you can just leave it as 2x and solve it up. Now here as well we'll use the exterior angle theorem. We have x and x. So x plus x is equal to, I'm not writing in triangle and everything. I'm just writing to the point now. That's 58. So it's 2x is equal to 58 degrees. X will be equal to 29. Now x is 29, x is 29. What do you want to find? Measure of angle F. That is equal to 29 degrees. That's it. So that's how we solve it. Very simple problems. We have a real world problem here. A lookout tower sits on a network of struts and posts. Leslie measured 3 angles on the tower. If the measure of angle 1, you can see this is the outside angle, is 7x minus 7. The measure of angle 2, okay, and these interior angles are given. What is the measure? First, let's find x and then we will solve it up. Now here, if you look at it, measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 3 is equal to measure of angle 1 from the exterior angle theorem. You can just write it out over here if you want. So what is measure of angle 2? It's 4x plus 1 plus 2 plus measure of angle 3 is 2x plus 6, that is equal to 7x minus 7. Now let's group all the x's to one side. 4 plus 2 is 6. Let's take it to the other side because 7 is bigger. 7x minus 4x minus 2x. And all the numbers at one side. Here we have 2 plus 6 and minus 7 to the other side becomes plus 7. So here it's 15. That is equal to x. Why? Because 7 minus 6x is just 1x. The problem is not over yet. We just found out the x value. We need to find the measure of 1. How do we find that? That is equal to 7x minus 7. So what is the x value? It is 15 minus 7. So 15, you can do just 7 times 14. 14, 140, 28. It will be 98 degrees. So that must be the answer. That's the measure of angle 1. And here we go. Yes, it's 15 and 98. So don't stop at x. You need to see what is asked. They've asked the measure of angle 1, so make sure you find the measure of angle 1 itself. And again, a real world problem. Here we just use the exterior angles again. This and this will be equal to 116. So I'll directly write it. Measure of angle 1 is 8x plus 7x minus 4. That is equal to 116. It's going to be 120 is equal to 15x. So this is 8, isn't it? 15. Yeah, it's 8. X is equal to 8. And now we need to find what's the measure of angle 1. 8 times x, that is 8 times 8. That is 64. That's it. So that is how we can easily solve it up. It is, see, x value you found out to be 8. And then put it back in the measure of angle 1, that is 8 times 8, that will be 64. I hope it's clear. Here we have problems to analyze. In triangle ABC, an exterior angle adjacent to A is acute. Okay, the exterior angle adjacent to A is acute. Let me just draw. Now this is acute, so that's a wrong diagram. Adjacent angle to A is acute, so it's something like this. Now this one is acute angle and this is ABC. I'm just trying to describe what is given, you know. This is ABC. So they have told triangle ABC is there. And the exterior angle adjacent to A. So imagine this is A, exterior angle to it is acute angle. Acute means it's less than 90 degrees, right? So I'm just dipping it and making it less than 90. Okay. Is the triangle acute? No, no way, because if this is less than 90 degrees, then that's acute. Let's say 60 degrees, then this will be 120 degrees, which is more than 90. So this is obtuse angle, right? Of course, if this is acute, this cannot be acute itself. This will be obtuse. Whereas, now if this was obtuse, say this was 120 degree, then this will be acute angle, 60 degrees over here. So this is how we can, see if this angle is obtuse, then this angle inside one will be acute, and if this is acute, then you will have obtuse. That's what you can say. Now, what did they write over here? Since the exterior angle is acute, the sum of the remote angles must be acute, which means the third angle must be obtuse. And yeah, see what they are saying is, see here, if this is acute, when you add these both, this must be 30 degrees and this is 30 degrees. I'm just giving you example. This is 30 and 30, or you can make it 40 and 20. So these both are acute, so this has to be obtuse no matter what. Or we can just consider linear pair and, tell easily it's obtuse angle. That's what it means. It's repeated twice. Explain why triangle cannot have an obtuse, acute, and right exterior angle. Okay, why a triangle cannot have an obtuse? Okay, now what they are saying is a triangle is there, right? This is a triangle. Cannot have all these together at once. That's what they mean. So now, can they have an acute? Can they have an obtuse, right, and obtuse? Now, imagine this is really okay. Now this is not a proper diagram, but imagine for once this is 60 degrees, which is acute angle, or you can take it as 80 degrees or something like that. Then this is 90 degrees, and this will be, say, more than 90, it's 120 degrees. Let's see what happens in each scenario. If this is, say, 60 degrees, this will be 60, and then this is going to be obtuse, say 120 degrees, and let's take it as 30 and 30. Then if this is now 120 degrees, this is going to be acute, okay, and this will be the sum of both. So it's very highly unlikely. Why? Because then if this is, no, this just cannot happen. Look carefully. Now we have this to be acute, right? So then some of these two are acute, okay, and this is obtuse. But now if this is obtuse, this is acute, yes, but this sum of two things must be equal to be obtuse. Now this is already obtuse, and the sum of two will just exceed. And now if this is 90 degree, this two must be equal to 90, which is just not possible, because this is either acute, this is obtuse. No way this can be 90 degrees, because over here they have told not only acute and obtuse, this has to be 90 as well, right? 3 also. So it's just impossible for these two to be 90 degrees, because one will be more than 90, one will be less than 90. And when you add them up, it doesn't make sense at all if you draw them up like this. So it's just not possible. If an exterior angle is acute, then the adjacent angle must be obtuse, yes. And if another exterior angle is right, then the adjacent angle must be right. This is yes. And cannot contain, yeah, of course, over here only you should understand this should be 90, which will not make sense, right? You have acute, obtuse, so it's just not possible basically. So that is what it is. So the sum, yeah, basically now the sum would have been greater than 180. See, this is what I've written for only one, but over here if I consider this to be 90 and this to be 180, we can't have a sum of 180 degrees of a triangle, so it will exceed than that. So therefore a triangle cannot be formed with these three angles as exterior angles. It's the same thing here as well. Now we have another problem where we need to use exterior angle, but now this is interesting. Why? Because there's y and z, two variables, and then we have exterior angle. So what we can do is we can sum these both, add them both, that is equal to 135. That'll be 5y plus 5 plus 4z plus 9 is equal to 135. Let's add let's keep x, y and z over here and remove all the numbers to the other side. 5y plus 4z is equal to 139 plus 14. It will be 135 minus 14. And here it'll be 5y plus 4z, that is equal to 135 minus 14 will give you 121. That's it. Now, what about the other relationship we can have? This and this, they are linear pair, right? So that'll be, when you add these both angles, it'll be 180 degrees. So let's do that. 4z plus 9 plus 9y minus 2 is equal to 180 degrees. Let's write y first. 9y plus 4z is equal to, when you add this up, it'll be 7. 7 to the other side will be 173. Okay, you can do in steps. Now we have two simultaneous equations. We can solve them up. You can subtract them and solve. I'll just use calculator here and solve it up. So let's use mode 5 for equations. And look here, this is a plus b equals c. That's the first equation. Now let's write the coefficient. What is the coefficient? It's 5, 4 and 121. So whatever is the a value, that's not x, it's y answer we'll get, the coefficients of y. So whatever the answer we get will be y and then z, and that's it, two answers. Over here we have 9, 4 and then 173. Make sure it is a plus b equals c, that is the variables together, it must be aligned. Y first, z second, equal to, and then the numbers. So here the answer is 13. What is that first answer? That is y is equal to 13. Z value is whatever comes after that, that is equal to 14. So we have z is equal to 14. That's the answers. Y is equal to 13, z is equal to 14. Or you can do it manually by solving simultaneous equations over here. You can subtract it and solve it. You will get the same answers. So here we go. We got these two equations, yes. And then they have done simultaneous equations. That's absolutely fine. Now here, okay, I'll just do the simultaneous equation because it's the writing exam. I just realized it. And how do we do that is, but even if you don't do it, if you do so much, right, you have got the equations, then you do this, it's fine. You should get full marks. See, it's 5y plus 4z, that is equal to 121. Because 4 and 4 is same, I'm going to subtract it. That means I'm going to use this 9y down. 4z is equal to 173, and I'm going to subtract them. I'm going to subtract means change the signs here completely. This goes off. So here you will have minus 4y is equal to minus 120 to 170. It's 52, right? So divide both the sides by 4. It will be 13. So it will be positive 13. Y equals, this is 13. Minus is gone. Positive 13. So now you found out y, just substitute the y in any one of the equation. You could have done this first, okay? Then you'll get positive values itself, 9y up and 5y down. That would be fine. You'll have gotten positive values, but answer will be the same. Now I'll use the 5 times 13 plus 4z is equal to 121. So here 5 times 13, 13, 5 is 65. Let me take it to the other side. 4z is equal to 121 minus 65. So that will be 65 minus 9 will be 54. No, it's 56. Sorry, my bad. 65 minus 9. And then we have 4z. Divide both the sides by 4. It's going to be, unless, yeah, 15 minus 1 is 14. And yes, that's the answer. Z is equal to 14. You can use mental math if you want. You can use calculator, anything. You will get the same answers. But please double check your answers in your exam using calculator. That's what I would suggest. And here we go. That's the answers. That is here. Y is equal to 13 and we have z is equal to 14. And here we have to construct a right triangle and measure one of the acute angles. See, now the construction one, they have asked you to do this and check by yourself. So you can directly use a protractor and do a right angle triangle, but there's a way to construct it. Say for example, you take an angle from here, then take an angle, make sure you draw a straight line and all that. But actually we are not going in detail with this because you have done this before. But you can construct using a compass, but I'm not sure such problems do come for you in your particularly this exam. But this is very straightforward. If you want even, you can just draw use a protractor, draw a 90-degree point and draw lines, and then join these 2 points. That'll also be fine. And then you can measure the angles if you want. That is the end of this question. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts, please consider rewatching the video or posting your doubts in the comments. I hope you all will head on to the next video.